So welcome to the end of CIT85 HTML and CSS. I'm going to start with the thank yous because I know this class is challenging for ways that I probably don't even understand for you. I know for me it's been because I did a rewrite of definitely the projects and some other in my own project site this semester. So I know how much work this takes, and it is, as I try to discuss, as I discussed at the beginning of the semester, it's definitely not a class that students want to take without considering the topic and the workload. But I also get it that, you see a class like this and you think, well, I can just fill my schedule, which is not really true. And the fact that you've gotten to the end, congratulations to you because you've persevered, you've gotten over it, you've caught up if you got behind, you did the work. And I just appreciate the fact that if you weren't interested in taking these classes, I wouldn't have a job. And full stop, that's just the truth. And so I really do try to treat my classes as a business, and I'm giving you a product, and I know it's not a perfect product, but I'm always trying to make it better. So that's probably one of the things I probably should have had in here, and maybe that could be part of the question. But let's go over what you're going to do here, and then I'll come back to some of these other ones. So this week, I just finished recording the project, the final step of the project. And we'll go over the due dates in a minute, but here's the video, and you're going to want to watch this because part of the discussion for this one. So you'll have a discussion for attendance, and you'll have a discussion, well, you'll have some work to do to ready your site for sharing out in the public repo, and then you'll have a discussion. So we'll have two discussions. The second one is your project related, your bigger impact, of course, on your grade. But in here, I just am giving you the instructions. I already have it up here. I've gone over it in the video and the video itself. One thing I kind of talked about, but I thought I would say here is when you're sharing, now you don't share this here, just to be clear. This is when you're doing that final project. So just if I looked at the calendar real quick, I'm doing attendance, but this final project discussion, and I'll talk about timing in a minute, is when you will do the work required, right, to ready your site and add a few more things into it. Okay. All right. And then the URL that you share is your GitHub IO, your public repo, and a /final. Now, this is not a working link. This just gives you what that URL ultimately should look like when you're ready to share it. Okay. All right, so let's talk about the really important dates. So in this case, by the end of day on the 20th, so let's look at when that is. So we have, this is week 18 of this week, for us it's week 9, regular semester. It's also the end of week 18, but for us it's week 9. So on the 20th, and this is the key, right? On the 20th by the end of the day, which means really when I wake up, right? And by the way, I wouldn't wait. Definitely submit. You can do late work. It is discounted. There are 2 passes in this class you can use. I definitely recommend using them for projects because they have the biggest impact on your grade. But you have to have submitted that work, right? Or used a late pass. So that would be where you email me and say, hey, I'd like to use a late pass if you had already submitted it, but you were discounted points because of late. Okay? So by the end of the day, on Tuesday. Again, you could do that now, right? Again, you can see I'm recording this on the Wednesday before this content is, or for this is due. Now, on the 21st by noon, so this is different. This is when you're going to have to post, right? So in this case, what you'll see here, right? So it's by noon, you need to have posted your URL, which means you need to have done the work, posted the URL. Now, I'd give you a little more time to complete the replies because I understand getting that done in that timeline, is a little tight. That's why hopefully, and actually I think I'll end up sending this out as an email. So for everybody to know what that end of semester looks like. And now by the end of day, which really means when I wake up on here, but again, if you've done those replies, right, I will probably be checking in there to see if the replies are done, and then I can finish grading and you will know where your grade ends up. But ultimately they have to be there by the end of day when I wake up the following day. Okay, so those are the important dates to understand for the course. And then the repositories, the public and the private, will be removed 1 week after the end of the semester, FYI. Okay, so I thought about this graded part of the discussion because the thing that, we're all trying to figure out is how in education, Gen AI, LLMs, large language models are being used. We know students are using them, and faculty are using them. I have been implementing more of them in the grading process, and this is kind of my workflow where I actually take your commits and your work and I zip it up and I send it to ChatGPT with the requirements. I have it review them. By the way, if I wasn't involved in that process, I would miss something. And I actually noticed several times it missed stuff that I had to go, hey, this is a part of what you missed. Does it make my life easier? Absolutely. But, I don't know if it impacts your experience. I hope not, because I'm in the loop. So it's the human and the AI together. But for you, and actually for me, even in creating my project, this is when Gen AI is really helpful. It's like, oh yeah, how do I accomplish that specific thing in CSS if I've forgotten? Right? But the term vibe coding is really where you're just asking the Gen AI to do the styling that you want to create. And for a class like this, would I know you did it? This is why I do the commits the way I do, right? But also, like, where is the line of what is going to help you extend your skills and what we have to do in education to figure out how to lean in but not totally on the tools. So we're all in the process of figuring this out. I was actually surprised how much I actually used it to remind me of certain things about CSS because I don't code CSS every day that I needed to remember. So here's what I want you to do. And here's the thing I'm going to say, right? I actually want you to be, the more open you're willing to be here, I'm not going to go back and change any of your grade in the past. I'm really trying to figure out going forward, how do I change the way that I teach? Now, these AI reviews that I do at the end of the week, that is one way I'm implementing it. And that could also be some other feedback you give me. So there's 2 questions. The first one is, how did you use Gen AI, right? And be specific. Like, this is really helpful because the other thing is students that don't know how to do it may, and there's a spectrum, right? Allowing it to do, again, I don't want to go over that because I've already talked about it. But so use a heading 3. You know how to do this. I've just put this in here. You know how to do a heading 3, but you also know in the reply how to do a heading 3, and that's worth 40 points. Make it substantive here. And then, so here's the deal, is you need to watch the video here, look at the instructions and watch the video for the final project discussion, because I want you to be able to ask any questions that you may have of that. So in this case, watch that. And pose a question about the project requirements, or ask end of the semester, detail, like anything about the end of the semester I've gone over, or anything other questions, or I would say questions, and then you could comment because you're going to reply to a post, right? So in this case, you can reply to their post, replying to maybe their use of AI, or maybe if they posted a question and you know the answer, definitely take that into account. Okay, so that's the work you have. Now for this discussion, this is our normal discussion, so it is due, right? Our normal due date, which would be, in this case, I didn't even talk about that, but I should have, right? It's due by the end of day on the 19th. So again, the sooner you get this done, the more heads up you have about this, but you will get an email from me talking about that as well. Okay, if you don't know, you can use Canvas to actually determine, like, if I had late work I wanted to do, how would it affect my grade if it was discounted? Or let's say actually probably the better scenario is I didn't do something, let's say I wanted to do that, knowing it would be discounted, what would my grade be? Because the question that often as instructors we get at the end of the semester is, how do I get a specific grade in your class? And what I love about Canvas is that you can answer that yourself. Now, the question would be timing and all that, and that's why I'm going over that now. Discord, consider hanging out on Discord. If you weren't there, you can still join. It's up in week 0. It is a place that I post job stuff. I post club or startup club stuff, anything else that kind of comes my way, or just other students posting stuff in there. But now that you've been to this class, you might be a resource for somebody. Okay, so I think I went over everything and I thanked you. So I'm going to end with a thank you because I really enjoy teaching. I enjoy the process of creating hopefully meaningful work and grading that, giving you feedback. Does it take time? Sure. Do I feel it is my job? Absolutely. Am I trying to figure out how to use AI to allow me to focus more on the parts I enjoy? Absolutely. Again, we're all trying to figure this out. So, your job, I've already shown you what it is. I've gone over the end of the semester, so have a great one. I hope if you haven't taken any of my other classes or any of our CIT courses, you could also ask me about that, right? Maybe you were going to take JavaScript next semester. Cool. Maybe you're going to take database, Introduction to SQL. That's a class I teach. I teach 82, which is Introduction to Web. And of course, this class, I don't know if I'll be teaching this class next semester. We'll see how enrollments go. And that'd be the other thing, is if you know somebody that you feel would benefit from taking this class or any of my classes, I just appreciate you helping me spread the good word, I guess I would say. All right, peace out.